So they've put in plenty of effort, the Bombers, and they want to keep that going at the start of the third quarter. The margin is 17 points. Ben Dixon.
We mentioned Tipung Moody and his impact. David Zaharakis with the 20 disposals so far. He's been a real match winner for me so far in terms of the way Essendon have got themselves in this game. He's moved the ball well. He's cut the angles. He's had a shot on goal. He's kicked one goal too, in fact. But the 20 disposals, it's been the way Essendon have continued to move the ball, kept it rolling. He's been instrumental along with Tipung Moody. So look for a big second half from David Zaharakis, because don't make any mistake about this. Essendon are right in this game, because Sydney did kick the last 3 goals, but they'll be fired up and well rested at half-time.
They are right in this game. The one thing I'd say about that, though, Dicko, is that they need a 2 or 3 goal haul out of Danaher. They need 1 to 2 out of McKernan and 1 to 2 more out of Mitch Brown, because all their goals, 4 of their 5 have been scored by small forwards or midfielders. They need a return from their big men.
Both sides starting with 6 forwards, so it's even numbers at either end of the ground, so giving everyone a chance for a crack at it. McVeigh into this third term. Full tour of the SCG. Here's an opportunity, an early one for Cooney, and maybe Danaher to kick a goal. Has to find the left. Couldn't, so he decided to handball back to Merritt. Heaves it to full forward. Young Redmond camped underneath. Kennedy careful not to give away the free. And then Redmond couldn't get the ball to boot, at least not the first time. Now he tables a turn and he is the tackler. Fantasia.
Young Redmond's probably thinking to himself right about now, they get to you a little quicker at this standard, don't
Just
they?
the one hand pass, but he keeps putting himself in the thick of it.
Young South Australian, plenty of talent.
And for anyone that might have just tuned in, both teams look to be down a player. Daniel Robinson for the Sydney Swans with a shoulder injury, and Jonathan Simpkin with a hamstring injury for the Bombers.
No shortage of ruckman going up that time. Handball from Hanbury. Set up Cunningham.
Great tackle. You're right, Jason. Bagley, he's such a terrier. He's such a feisty character. Throwing him forward today has really put the cat amongst the pigeons for forward pressure for the Bombers.
Cooney forced to submit and handed it off to Kennedy, and eventually it's Parker that clears, but it has the danger passed. Franklin went hard for it. McDonald, Tipung Moody again, good poise. D kicks them inside their attacking area, much deeper, and now it's Crowley with the final kick.
This is where the big men have to give something here. Danaher's got to get hands to it, got to get a run at it.
Yeah, couldn't get a clean run at it, and Heaney went for the double fist, and the behind conceded.
Sometimes I don't think the person kicking the ball helps either. I mean,
that was a bad
right then, he kicked it to the wrong side of the contest for Danaher.
He's got to give him a run of about 15 metres to it, because if Grundy holds on, then the umpire will see it.
Fine line for Cunningham to take that mark. She's able to do. And then drive it to half forward. Tippett starting behind. Tipung Woody over the top. Leuenberger did well to control it. Dempsey knew the tackle was coming. Played for the free successfully.
Stay there. Never took possession of the ball. Thank you. Clear out.
From half back. Courtney Dempsey gave them good drive in the first half.
This is going to need to be an exceptional kick.
It wasn't bad, but the Swans were all around, so it really puts it back to enemy territory pretty quickly, you would think. Although Hewitt had about 3 minds on where to kick it.
Good pressure.
And the fist was there from Zaharakis. Handicap was got by the bounce. Hewitt came up with clean air and the footy in hand. And now Jack screaming for the other side, Heaney. Franklin leading hard. Tippett the longer option. It was a bit scrappy on the way in. Might suit Buddy this. Got a late run at it. Didn't take the mark. Follows up, wrong sided. Tries to get back onto that left. And he did, because he's Buddy Franklin. How did he kick that goal?
Bit of power on display there, Jason.
Yeah. He is, look, he kept his strength, he kept his feet. I reckon if you're John Warsall, though, you're pretty disappointed with a couple of these tackling efforts. I mean, we know Buddy's a big man, but he brushes aside one with a bump, goes straight through the Cooney tackle. And even though Hartley's trying to drag him to the ground, he's still got the strength to keep his feet and fashion a kick that's cleared the pack and gone through.
Oh. I think he was pretty happy to see that one sail through. 3 goals for Buddy Franklin. And he looms large, as we expected. Here's his numbers so far this year. 23 goals thus far. Where's it going to end? Around the mid-80s, maybe, if they play some finals. Do you think they would? Could he get the ton? Streaming off half-back.
This is when they look dangerous, when Dempsey or Tippin Woody's got the ball.
Dempsey putting it deep. And Mitch Brown. Oh, Dempsey kept on coming. Can't have had much gas left. Little handball, Hanbury. Got it sorted. Heaney marks from the McVeigh kick. Margin out to game high 22 for the Swans. Parker hard as he always is. Takes the mark. Next kick was obvious. Down the line to Jack. Franklin's back in the goal square. Mitchell will be thinking about it. But he hesitates. Toss it up. There's Sinclair. There's Tippett. There's Franklin. Tippett almost. Leuenberger. Buddy had him in the crosshairs, but couldn't quite latch on.
Just watched the lad we were talking about for the first half, Tippin Woody. And I don't know whether he's blown up at half-time, but he could not chase Kieran Jack out then, out on the lead. And when the ball went over his head, he couldn't chase it back in. So hopefully he's just run dry of a bit of wind for a second and he can regain something, but he just went flat for a second. Lloyd's turn to scramble a kick forward. Tippett needs a bounce. Grimer didn't really want that. And he's got some good help, needs it. He's back on guard again, Grimer. Took it from Kelly, heaved it out of there. It'll only be for a moment or two, you would think. As Grundy takes the mark, little by little, just building a little case here for another shot for goal. Lloyd goes to the numbers. Everyone's having a fly. Kennedy not quite. Cooney suddenly, you could see attack was in his mind straight away. And Redmond has to wait till there's more resources on offer. Crowley, and they've sorted that well off halfback. Zaharakis comes out. Got to hit that. You have to hit that short kick.
Fantasia, the man in the target. They were coming for him, and he knew it. Slick hands, but just gets away from the Swans. Jack goes to ground. The numbers start to multiply, and a ball up seems inevitable. Just the one goal to show from the opening 6 minutes of this third quarter. There's plenty of energy, though, about both teams, particularly the Swans. They want to try and put this one away quickly.
Oh, well played.
Kelly with the response from the Bombers. Dempsey and Goddard. Bagley. Buddy's coming for him from one side. Smith was from the other.
Gets him down.
Hartley. Now Kelly.
That's the thing with Lance Franklin. Every time he gets to a tackle or a bump, it is a max effort. People look at that skill he has and the prowess he has by running, but everything is a max effort when he doesn't have the ball.
Hartley getting it away, out to the wing, Grundy.
Now, he had one hand right in the middle of Danaher's back, holding him underneath the footy.
Not sure what Buddy's doing up there on the wing. He's sending it deep. Cunningham wasn't really looking at the footy. Hartley gets it D, under some stress and strain. Grimer handing the pressure off to Cooney. And Cooney has the skills and the power to get away and puts it beautifully for Redmond. To McDonald, Tippin Woody, and now Dempsey on the overflow, goes back again, charging down the ground. What a sight, with one bounce, and tries to calculate the kick for the square. Fantasia couldn't quite get on the end of it.
That's unlucky.
Did so well. Aren't they dangerous in the hands of Dempsey and Tippin Woody?
Have a look at this, Derm. There's the real change. That right hand is pushing right in the back to hold him under the footy.
Well,
I thought you weren't allowed to use the hand.
No, you're not. But I reckon the umpire might have been shielded fractionally from that. From that view.
Leuenberger takes the mark and can send it straight back in again. Bagley got a clean run at it. Can't quite take the mark. Zaharakis got one high.
Essendon. Hey boys, I'll pay the free kick. Don't give it away. Thank you. Be careful, Colin.
There's always a lot of chatter from the umpires, a lot of direction.
I used to always like the theory, you paid the free kick, don't give it away, but I'm going to give as good as I can up and to the mark of giving it away.
15 gone.
So Zaharakis.
Much needed.
Absolutely. Swans have kicked the last 4 goals.
Good lad.
It's through.
Having a good year.
Having a career best year. He's shown great leadership. We know all about the extra work he did in the off-season, averaging 30 disposals a game and hitting the scoreboard tonight.
Yeah, well, it's a match where the Sydney midfield has really dominated. Kennedy, Hanbury, Parker, Mitchell all getting plenty of the ball. the man that continually gets it for the Bombers is David Zaharakis, equal with Josh Kennedy. He's got 22 possessions at 71%, and he's added 2 goals to his tally.
And whereas Kennedy, who has 22 possessions as well, has 7 kicks and 15 handballs, you can see that Zaharakis has won the footy consistently through the game. He's kicked the ball, 17 kicks, 5 handballs, and his efficiency's fine. So it's a good effort from David Zaharakis, carrying a big load for the Bombers. Again, not perfect for the Swans. Heave back out to Mitchell, getting it deep over Tippett's head. And Gwilt didn't mark it, so it's alive for McGlynn in the scramble. Grimer slapped it, and Papley on the line.
Do you know what happened there? I reckon he nearly... I have a feeling that the Essendon player hit the ball on the ground
onto his foot,
onto a foot that then rebounded back towards goal.
This will give us a good shot of it.
So we get a review here. Have a look at Hartley, hits it onto Tippett's foot, and it's going. Oh, this will be close.
Third eye will be along the line from the umpire.
He slaps it into Tippett's foot. It's a goal. It's a goal to Papley.
Yeah, it's a clear goal. Touched over the line by Dempsey.
He just needed to slap it through for a point, Hartley, rather than trying to slap it out like that.
They continue to have to work hard for their goals here, the Swans, though. Essendon have really come to play, and Swans with the edge, we know, and experience and skill, but...
Oh, that's contemptuous by Franklin.
Yeah.
Little opening for McVeigh to get Buddy. He started it with the handball, and now Heaney has it punched away. Gwilt, pressure gets shifted back to Hartley. Just squeezes out a kick.
Good kick.
Hold, Harry, hold!
Done it a couple of times today. Buddy Durham, he ran through Adam Cooney and made him look like he wasn't even there before. And that time he looked at Brendan Goddard and said, "You can't stop me."
Well, Goddard's 192 centimetres and 93 kilos. Goddard is a key position size player.
Brushed him
and he actually looked at him and said, "I'm going to give you a look at me. I don't care. I'm going through." It's contemptuous.
Polkinghorn's kick lands at half forward, but Hanbury on the job with McVeigh. Again, good care with the kick to get it to Mitchell. Looks down the ground. There's a few options on the menu for him. Chose to get it through the middle. Kennedy powering from behind. McGlynn now. Cunningham applies the pressure to Dempsey. Removed him. Lloyd had no idea. Completely oblivious. The tackler was so close.
Quilty ran himself under the footy then. Almost let it go over the back for a bloke with pretty good judgment.
And he was playing on a small forward. He needed to mark that. The kick from Kennedy coming in wasn't a great one. It actually suited Gwilt.
Merritt was the tackler, and now he's got Dempsey. Dodgy little kick. Good enough for Mitch Brown, who really started the game strongly.
This will be possession number 16. He's got a goal to his name, 7 marks.
Gone at 80%.
Play on, play on!
Just gets the kick away to Adam Cooney. He's probably got better as the game's gone on. His 13th disposal coming up. Half forward, Mills to impact the contest from the side. And look at all the teammates he had around, ready to snap into action, and they do. Hanbury on the overflow. McGlynn's bolting back to the square, but Franklin might kick it over his head. And was looking for his 4th and thought he had it.
It's a fearsome side on the run, isn't he?
What a sight it is.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a charge of the light brigade, isn't it? It's just... You can just hear the cannons going off and the fear in people's eyes. And, yeah, it's a wonderful sight.
And that's high on Hewitt.
There's one down behind plate. It's Callan Sinclair again, grabbing the knee that he went down with late last week. Just out of screenshot there.
Don't think they'll be rushing the stretcher out this time yet, anyway.
No, no, he's got cramp. Jeez, he can't get his toe back.
He's cramped. He has, you're right, in the lower leg. It's early to be cramping.
Yeah, and round 7.
And he's a long way away from the bench too.
You should only get cramp in rounds 1 and 2.
They're normally very late in the game.
Kelly was stumbling.
And how would you know about cramp, Jason?
Leuenberger.
You'd be surprised.
Back to the wing from one forward pocket to the other. It's tough going, isn't it, as Heaney?
You go from one side of the goal square to the other often enough. Cramp sets in.
And there's Buddy. 3 goals, 1 to his name.
You got to feel for young Michael Hartley. He's saying, I heard all this talk about Lance Franklin. I didn't know he'd be like this. He's a specimen. He's a unit, isn't he?
And we're told Hartley has a pretty good tank himself too.
Yeah.
He's a good size. He runs well.
199 centimetres.
He's been a good find for Essendon this year.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Leuenberger.
And he must relish challenges like this to play on the best players in the competition.
Sinclair's recovered anyway. Kennedy, Mills, set up. It's in the area. Watch out! Oh, he was flying, buddy. He was up. And it's coming away pretty smartly here for the Bombers. Zaharakis, the architect of another move forward. Or McKernan's hurt himself.
He's gone down.
Yeah. He's hopefully getting up, but the footy's going away, although not for long. Danaher takes the mark.
Now, they've got some numbers here.
Oh, it was a hokey-pokey little kick.
It's a really sloppy kick.
Bagley. And he was a sitting duck, Adam Cooney. Kennedy, can he leverage the advantage? Maybe. Jack takes it. He's got something out wide. He hasn't seen it. Tom Mitchell waiting for an eternity. Now he was able to spot him. Still too far at the score. Franklin holds his ground and comes into frame. Not quite yet. He's double back. We're ready for it. He's got 2 to contend with. The kick comes his way. It's all about Franklin in the pocket. The spoil from Hartley outstanding.
Well, Hartley's got good reach, Jason.
Yeah.
He's 200 centimetres. Franklin's 197, but here's the incredibly long arms. This is the McKernan. Just got one on the way through. A little drive-by from a teammate, I reckon. Yeah, bang. He's got a cork thigh. Maybe turned the knee in a little bit as well. So Franklin 197 centimetres. Hartley's 200 or 199.
But he takes on the world there. Hartley goes back for a second time. Zaharakis continues to mine the packs for footy for his team.
Yeah, I think Hartley's also going to be comfortable with that high ball coming in. Because one thing we know about Buddy, he's not your big pack marker. He's not going to fly over packs and take screamers.
Now, the contested marks he takes is when he's one-on-one, flat-footed, holds an arm across his opponent, flat hands the incoming ball, and cradle juggles touches 2, 3, 4, and then pulls it to his chest. He's not a clunker above his head. But then when it hits the deck, by God, he can run.
He only needs a half a sniff.
He just might be the best athlete we've ever seen play the game.
Mitchell, Hanbury, sure about
How did he get that out, Hutto?
Yeah. Nick Smith just sets it up as if he wants someone to take a hanger. There was no one to do that. Sinclair full-bodied at the footy. Left nothing behind. Jack was able to wear 1-2 and screw it back for goal. And the Swans are finally getting rolling here at the SCG.
Young Fantasia, and we don't want to heap anything too bad on the kids, but only in his 14th game. He gives up possession here. He doesn't stay over the footy. Now watch this, when this ball goes into the forward line here, watch how he doesn't keep the ball directly between there. He doesn't keep over the ball. He doesn't keep the ball in front of him. He has a loose grip on it. It bobbles out, and that causes a goal. Had a chance to stay over it there, R07 Fantasia. Just,
he knows it.
Johnny knows it. You got to let the kid make his own mistakes. He'll learn along the way, but he'll get his little disc. What do they get now? The little what do you put in the side of your computers these days?
USB.
Yeah, that'll be it.
Little
And he'll
stick.
see that one, and he'll know to do better next time.
Kelly and Gwilt able to work in cahoots this time. Although Gwilt, you could see the uncertainty. He just had to get it onto the boot, and it got through everyone. Zach Jones and Redmond put the head down. Zach Jones, good attack, but counter from Fantasia, who blasts it from behind the centre, hoping for a miracle. And that's probably not a bad result.
It's okay because they get the stoppage, but again, you've got to weigh up where there were 2 forwards, 2 defenders. The 2 defenders were over the back. So the kick over the top is never going to be the advantage of the forwards. You're not going to get that goal
Cooney
out the back.
went to go sideways.
And then he doubled up the hit-up lead.
Yeah, look how much the domination is in the clearances. They've dominated the last 10. In fact, they've won 30 out of 39 for the match.
Oh.
Nice
Natural kicking foot there from Merritt.
Yeah.
Couldn't pull it back around, young Zach.
You'd expect to kick that. He's a very, very good young player. He's having a good season too.
Play on. Fine. Yeah, handball.
Yeah, I know.
George.
No mark, but it is a free kick against Dempsey.
Now Franklin is up almost parallel to this ball, just on 45 in, just sneaked out of screen. Hartley is 15 metres further down the line and will hope to pick up Franklin on the way through.
Buddy made himself an option, but
I don't think you mind if Buddy gets it up there. I like the way he's playing conservatively on the defensive side, on the goal side of him.
Except if he gets it like this,
now
he gets
he comes
a run
up.
he was about to be tackled. Instead, he puts it for
Get it back.
Heaney. Yeah, Franklin will get back into the picture in a moment, but that could be holding the ball. It is.
Holding the ball. Essendon.
Great closing down by the Bombers against Zach Merritt. He's a terrific young player. And it gave the handball. It was there for him. Polkinghorne tries to, in straight lines down the middle on Mitch Brown. Dropped one he would dearly love to have held. Gets a second chance. Cooney off the left boot. Tosses it up a bit, and that gave, Nick Smith. Did he manhandle Bagley?
Yeah, he did. Well, that's been paid from not the controlling umpire, but the umpire that was in the middle of the ground.
Well, the controlling umpire at that stage was Matty Nichols, the experienced one, but he was looking at the back of Dane Rampy, so he didn't see the push. It was the umpire further up the ground who had the angle look at. He had this view of it, and he sees now. Yeah, is it a free? Gee, touch and go.
Take him when you get him.
Oh, yeah, don't hand him back to say I didn't deserve it.
He's only kicked 2 goals in his 78-game career, Mark Bagley.
Backmen do love getting forward. They do love it.
But he's not a bad kick.
So you're with him, Derm?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll go with the kid.
Righto.
Frankston boy, I'll go with him. Oh, yeah.
Not a bad call, Derm.
Good effort, but you should have stuck with no.
Well, that's as close as you can go. There's young Robinson after he copped the knee in the back of that left shoulder early on from Brendan Goddard, who took a wonderful mark. It was accidental. He had eyes on the ball, and that's what happens in our sport. Sometimes people get injured by accident. Don't ever take that out of the game.
Jones painted himself into a corner there. Good enough to get out. And a funny old handball. A bit of a wandering play by the Swans. Laidler, Grundy hurried it. It's excellent result though. Hanbury, he wrong-footed his teammate Mitchell. Had to go back and get it. And then he looked up and there was Essendon jumpers absolutely everywhere.
Good pressure.
Bird, not the best of passes for Crowley. He knew he was going to be tackled. Again, Hanbury gets involved in the thick of it off halfback. That's better work by Ham. And now they can duck back through the middle. Parker took it. Buddy's streaming back to goal. Sinclair will know it. Heaney's down there as well, calling for it. Might be a more viable option. He'll come from the side. Heaney, oh, he went for everything. And Cunningham, is it over the line? No, it's not. Digs deep. Jack stretches and does well.
That's a clever kick.
Given the leap of Heaney, should that not be a free kick for not touching the footy? What they call an unrealistic attempt to mark. He just jumped into the pack.
I actually thought it was a free kick to Heaney. He gets pushed out of the way. I thought that's interference.
One way or the other, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's almost tunnelling against him.
20-year-old George Hewitt kicked 3 goals in the opening term last week to extend the lead beyond 30 points. It hangs on for another major for the Swans.
Yeah, well, it was an interesting contest to see Heaney coming in from the side, and it was McDonald, Tip and Woody that was trying to block him out.
Well,
now,
you can use body, but you can't bump them away from the ball without going for it yourself.
Yeah, he's not looking at the footy either.
Yeah, that should be a free kick to Heaney because he took his eyes off the ball to actually push him out of the way.
You heard the umpire in the background. His explanation was he just thought they both bumped into each other.
Well, he did, but one was more intent than the other.
So George Hewitt gets the goal. Isaac Heaney thought he should have had his 4th. One of the explanation, but 32 points is the margin now. Swans responding to the Zaharakis goal with 2 of their own reasonably swiftly, and they continue to dominate out of the middle. Been a smashing in there.
Yep.
Hanbury, Franklin from the stand start. Not quite. It's not quite all coming together for Buddy. He's not out of the picture. Kelly wrapped up, Tippett. And Heaney takes the advantage and collects his 4th goal after all.
Putting the foot on the throat now, Jason.
Had to feel for James Kelly, though. He's on the end of a few flip-out balls, and he takes clean possession and then gets hammered by a couple of tacklers, what chance have you got?
He's a player, this lad, isn't he?
So he cops that, and he's immediately besieged by two blokes trying to do something with the footy.
But that's great pressure from the Swans.
Yeah.
You know Kelly's thinking, I'm the experienced player, and I have to take a little bit longer and try and put it into the hands of good advantage. Just took a little bit longer to try and deliberate what he was going to do with it there, Kelly, and that means you've got a target on your back.
But
They
again,
get to him.
if you're going to take the advantage inside your attacking 50, you better kick the goal.
So 2 of the last 10 goals only for the Bombers, and the Swans continue their hard work and dominance around the middle of the ground, getting it out. But Zaharakis tried to fight back for the Bombers, not once but twice. And they're getting some good dash off half back now, although Nick Smith ran straight into plenty of trouble. Good insurance at the back. Grundy, Hanbury, watch out, because McDonald, Tip and Woody was coming hard with a footy.
Yeah, no good.
Laidler takes the mark.
Well, the problem is every time they look up going forward, there's one target against 3 defenders.
But look what Danaher is. He was in the centre of the ground. He's got to read that, and he's got to actually get out to
He
that.
can get this one if they look.
Mitch Brown tosses it up. McVeigh, clever. Just held him at bay and then double back to take the mark.
Play on.
Nothing right down the middle here, so just has
Now
to
he
wait
is.
Laidler. And then something came into vision. That's something. It was the former Hawk, Ben McGlynn.
Don't reckon you need to give that one. I mean, you've got to look at the percentages. Is he going to take that mark running at full speed with you right on his ginger, putting a modicum of pressure on? But he just took his arms out, Wilt, and he's playing on a small player in McGlynn.
Yeah,
Lloyd, watch out for Isaac Heaney here. His eyes all on the footy at the back.
Wasn't that interesting how Heaney's able to skirt the pack,
Yeah.
skirt the body of players to get a run up at the footy?
Look out.
Here comes
Oh.
Franklin. Sees off one. Buddy's roaring again from the pocket. And another. And he passes. Inexplicably, he passes Buddy.
Luke Parker dropped a sitter.
And then there's a high tackle. Well, it was pretty creative play by Franklin, but
That is
it was a bit of a
superb.
letdown that he passed it off.
It could have been a potential goal of the year if he had have threaded it through, but very, very lucky to be getting a second opportunity because it was a perfect kick to Parker. He just spilled a simple mark. Have a look at this. He goes through one tackle, evades Crowley, pushes off
Push
another,
off, Bork.
and then Bork, and then this chip kick's a beauty.
He's got a beautiful kicking action when he kicks short on the pass.
You won't see Luke Parker drop another one of those this year.
Not in his, you won't see him drop one in his career the way he's going. This is for goal number 6 for the quarter for the Swans.
Tom Papley never looked like kicking that goal once it came off the boot.
5 goals 1 to 1 goal 4 in favour of the Swans this quarter inside 50. Sydney 17, Essendon 9. So they put the foot down here, the Swannies.
Should have been 6 though, shouldn't it, really? That was
Yeah.
a gimme.
Hold, Ben. Yours.
Still a minute to go.
Play on.
Grundy, Laidler.
That was a bit of contest from Danaher, though. Fought his way to the front,
He's not,
brought it to ground.
talk about him in a second, Jason, and you and I played different ways, and you were like said, I'm here under those types of balls, and you powered your way over opponents. To me, Danaher's got to run little figure eights because Reg Grundy just wants to have touch and feel on him. He's got to actually get little bits of distance without running himself way out of position. He's got to get distance between him and Grundy.
Goddard had to hurry the kick, and as a result, McVeigh.
Actually, what we just saw Heaney do would work well for him. If he can
Perfect.
circle it to give himself a run at the pack.
And we saw that game where he took, was it Melbourne apart? That's what he was doing.
Parker against the taller McKernan, and the backup arrived for the Bombers. Merritt takes it from Goddard. Clock showing 17 seconds only here for Essendon. What can they construct? Zaharakis.
So I'm looking down the line now, and Danaher's allowing Reg Grundy to lean on him and hold on him. Just run figure eights, mate. Get away from him. Just get half a metre split from him.
McKernan, they need a mark, and they need it now. And instead, the umpire actually hastily paid the mark.
He paid that
Hanbury.
mark too early.
Yes, but the siren sounds to end a quarter where the Swans finally got going. Didn't get full reward, but they did kick the last 4. And the margin is 39 points. But don't go anywhere. There's still a feeling we're going to see some magic in this last quarter. Heaney's kicked 4, Buddy's kicked 3, and threatens to kick some more in the final term. It's the Swans by 39. leading hard. Tip at the longer option. It was a bit scrappy on the way in. Might suit Buddy this. Got a late run at it. Didn't take the mark. Follows up. Wrong side. It tries to get back onto that left. And he did because he's Buddy Franklin. Three goals for Buddy Franklin. He's threatened to really cut loose, but hasn't quite. 4 for Heaney. The Swans getting it done late in that quarter. Lead by 39 points as we look at some of the big numbers.
Uncontested possessions there, they're plus 22, and that comes from their ability to win the ball in tight and their ability to win the ball at the stoppage. Plus 6 at that clearance. They are a more powerful team. We know that. At their A-grade game out there, the Swans are best football in the comp. So they're going to get all those uncontested possessions. Let's go down to Benny Dixon now.
Thanks, Dermot. Well, we came in tonight thinking it was going to be the Buddy show. Well, Isaac Heaney has stolen the show. He's kicked 4, had 18 at 72% efficiency. But one thing he's done is he's just flown for his marks. I love that John Longmire has given this boy any licence up forward to just have a crack at it in the air. He can do it in the air, on the ground. He's quick, he's fast, he's a playmaker. He's had 9 score involvements. If I was John Longmire, I would push everyone up and isolate him this quarter because you see a serious athlete in action. I mean, athleticism one thing, but the use of the ball. This boy's from Newcastle, Nova Castrian. It's rugby league territory. He's come into AFL and made such an impact in this game. So isolate him in this quarter. Could be anything, Hutto. I'd look forward to you getting up and around him if he kicks 6 or 8.
Well, he flew out of the blocks, didn't he? Having a look with a couple of early goals. His first half was exceptional. A little quieter in the third term. There's one bloke that might have something to say, though, if you want to isolate him in the forward 50. But he doesn't play second fiddle to many people.
Aliir, one of the spectators, of course, he made his AFL debut last week and certainly looked quite comfortable at the level. Nick Smith returning to the lineup tonight, which I think was an indication of how serious the Swans were taking this game. They weren't just going to give a blood and nut player for another match or two.
He's actually starting on the wing, Isaac Heaney.
And it's Hanbury trying to handball start them out of the middle. Tippett and Cunningham, they're inside. Franklin just slightly out of kilter with Hartley, but he's always there or thereabouts, Buddy. Hartley shakes the head in frustration. One that got away from both of them, as it turns out. So 39 points the margin as we start the last quarter here at the SCG.
Even though Franklin's kicked 3 goals, I reckon Hartley's done a really good job. It's only been the 11 possessions for Franklin. He hasn't dominated around the ground.
Crowley back to the wing.
Good fight by Brown.
Quick hands.
Oh, he knew he was there somewhere, but that's dangerous now.
Parker, what a give. Nifty little handball to Jones.
Just didn't have the pace to shut down that with a tackle there, McKernan.
Franklin snaffled it up. A falling Mitchell recovered well. Buddy kept his footing and so was involved again to his mate Hanbury. The spoil was excellent from Gwilt.
Oh, he got one in the kidneys there, Hanbury.
Oh, Tippett, was it a throw?
Oh, that's a throw.
No, it wasn't. Papley's kicked the goal.
Surely that's a throw. Look at the Essendon players. Umpire said I thought it was a tap. Often when we see that little scoopy looking tap, it's called a throw. We get the benefit of slow motion replays. Oh,
there's a bit of under on that, wasn't there? For it to be a throw.
So you don't get away with that too often.
How brave was Hanbury running back with that? And he got a big knee to the kidneys about 4 or 5 seconds before that caption there.
I think the replays might have showed that was a forward pass, Jason.
They got away with one. No doubt about it. That's a throw. A little bit proppy after that. Tom Papley.
Nothing like a goal, though, to take away the pain. Swans by 45 and really threatening to rip this game apart now. McVeigh had an eternity to work out where he was going to kick it. Good fist from Dempsey. Cleared the area and Kelly finished the job.
And the issue now for the Bombers is if they're not careful, this blows out to a 10, 12 goal plus win for the Swans. They've got to fight hard this last 30 minutes.
Yeah, 45 points now could easily turn into a 70-point margin.
Hannaby tries to wade through and he's gone for holding the ball, even though he handballed it.
But not if
That's
they
the make-up putter, but it doesn't quite square it up.
Not if they play showbiz footy, though.
Oh, there's a hospital hand pass.
Did well not to give it up. Crowley, they try the reset. Merritt and Cooney.
got to stick the tackle.
Hanbury, Cunningham, that's not pretty footy from either team.
It's interesting, we see Adam Kearney at different stages, he shows a bit, and then we see him a little bit off what we know he's capable of. Some interesting comments from him during the week where he said, he was asked whether he'd play on, and he said he needs to wait till the end of the year because he's not satisfied with the way he's playing and what his body's allowing him to do. And we've seen a few things, the games I've seen from him, you know he wants to do more, he's just not capable.
So, Dicko, you're close to, a lot closer than we are, to some of the gossip around it. Does he still suffer, Adam Kearney, from the bone-on-bone in the knee, which we'd always heard he was going to play handfuls of games at best?
Yeah, it's just the recovery time, Dermot. So with a degenerative knee, he probably can't get going until Thursday during the week. So as an athlete, you can recover as best you can, but you need to sort of get going Tuesday, Wednesday if you want to find any consistency with what you do. And at his age, I think he might be up against it, to be honest, because I think he's also lost a bit of his agility and his ability to get out of a contest. So he's ambitious thinking next year, in my opinion. I think he just makes the most of this year.
Had to be deliberate, that one, a hand pass straight out of bounds, the way we've seen that rule applied this year.
Got out of jail with the kick.
And Bagley's kidding himself thinking he can walk at that angle.
It's a shallow pocket from this side.
So you're with him again, Derm?
No.
The big banana. Kick the big banana.
It was a terrible kick, though, from Danaher.
Chip kick. He tried to give Danaher a run at that, and that's just poor judgment.
Laidler, and then nothing from McVeigh at all in his line of vision, so try this side instead. Laidler goes for the smallest man.
Struggle.
Can't fool anyone, so it's Wilts now to do with what he chooses.
Well, if you can get it to Goddard.
As instead to Kelly.
They've got to keep it going around the arc here.
Yeah.
They've got set up. This is what they did in the first quarter, which got them a result. Here, a long bomb's not really going to get them what they want.
Sets it up and hoping that Mitch Brown, he got the run.
He should have marked that, Brown.
Yep.
Here's Cooney to the square. McVeigh, Grundy, Danaher, if it hits the floor, it doesn't.
That's nah. I've been on his case today, Danaher, but that's really poor. Expecting Zach Merritt at what is he, 180 centimetres to compete against Reg Grundy, and Danaher's going to take the crumb. That ain't going to happen.
Franklin's a bit of a sitting duck there with that kick.
Played a solid game, Mitch Brown too, with his 21 possessions, 8 marks and 1 goal, but it could have been a lot better.
Yep.
He's got his hands to a lot of balls that he also could have grabbed.
They just plot a path along the outer wing. McVeigh helps himself to a bounce.
Good chase.
And then the low skimming kick into the 50. Just a little bit too hot there for McGlynn. No free kick for holding the man on Cunningham. And it's back over the top.
I am critical of Danaher. He continues to allow Grundy to put touch on him and feel on him. And that means if you can touch your opponent forward, that means you just watch the ball. You know where both aspects of the game are, your opponent and the footy.
He'll get better. I mean, he'll learn the craft, but because they're under so much pressure, we're almost demanding that he learns quicker.
And now,
look at this.
Yeah, that's good pace.
He scooped it up quickly, Fantasia, but the persistence on the chase was outstanding from Zach Jones. They're the things that coaches love. Determination and willpower, and the Swans now gathering in the middle. Hewitt hits the hits the obvious target. Cunningham gets it deep. Tippett had the height, had the strength on Kelly, and takes the mark.
Now, once again, that ball goes back. Fantasia is tackled by an opponent, and the support Sydney player is Grundy. He outworked Danaher forward to be the support player.
Just come off for a spell,
and I guarantee if you gave them a sprint race and you gave them a distance race, Danaher would beat him at both. But he didn't beat him for workload running back with the flight then.
Numbers look good for Kurt Tippett from this spot.
They look real good.
This is for his second.
And that's why.
Doesn't spoil the record with that kick. Get past 50 in terms of a lead for the first time for the afternoon.
It's interesting watching the ball at half-back.
Yeah, watch this. Sorry, Jason. Now, look, Grundy was shoulder to shoulder with Danaher.
Watch also here, Derm. Watch also the tackle attempt from Mason Redmond. I don't reckon we teach young players the technique of tackling. They come in with lighter frames, but you can overcome that if you've got good tackling technique.
The other thing with that tackling, Jason, is they take too big a steps when they're approaching.
Yeah.
You have to take the small, sharp steps like a Surioli does, because you can change direction quickly and then wrap them up. That's the first technique.
Yeah, you've got to get a good solid base about your own body.
Kennedy still a powerhouse out of the middle. Mitchell not as clean. Young Redmond gets involved. And Crowley off the outside of the boot. It was designed for Mitch Brown. Didn't eventuate. Mills summed it up well. Kennedy, and now they can try and push forward off half back. That wasn't in the battle plan, I don't think. Back from Jack, though. The recovery was outstanding. Sinclair feeding it back to Mitchell. He's going to have to rush this possession to Kennedy. He too was in a hurry, so it hasn't been pretty for the Swans in the build-up. Cunningham, as a result, was also stressed. Coming in, Franklin. It's pouring over the ball. Back from Mitchell. Good pressure from the Bombers. Good persistence out of all of that.
Got to give young Redmond a pat on the back then. That was a good tackle. He went low, and as Dicko said, he was balanced when he got to the tackle and took him around the hips and got him to ground. Good lead.
Mitch Brown again took that cleanly and goes for Bagley. Puts it on his chest. Play for free, perhaps.
Needed to take the ball in the hands.
Yeah.
Smith.
But that's a rookie error when you play forward, thinking I'm going to make sure of it by taking it on the chest.
Heaney put on a little few tricks there, but the final kick was not great. Dempsey works it back in tandem with Merritt and Kelly. The whole thing just grinds to a halt for a moment. Crowley for D.
Well, they've got plenty of numbers back, Sydney, so there were no easy options going forward. You have to think this through.
Goddard. His 24th disposal coming up. McDonald tipping Woody. Scrappy, apparently not far enough.
Just copped a little bit of pressure as he was kicking and shanked it off the ankle. See, have a look at Mark Bagley. He actually had his back to the play and then he turned and led. If he takes that in his hands, Mills can't get there to spoil.
Just can't reach it. And having said that,
great spoil.
It was a fine spoil, wasn't it?
Goddard
is good.
Young Redmond goes down with that one from Jones, and well, he's got a kick away apparently. Mitchell sharp with the hands, too sharp. Merritt, Fantasia. Bird go anywhere with that kick. Here he is again, Bagley and Smith. Two players who you wouldn't think would be playing on each other. There's not too many genuine small defenders in the competition.
A handful at best. Nick Smith's probably the premier one of them as well.
Corey Enright?
No, you wouldn't call him a small defender. He can play in the smalls, but not as much anymore.
The centre half forward, but he's lurking. He wasn't on the right side. Doesn't mean he can't wind up and kick a 60-metre goal. Just like that one.
Won't matter.
Come on, everybody, he says. There's more to come.
You can't do that, Jake.
Seriously, you need to look where he's actually struck the ball off a couple of steps on the turn, and it carried the entire way. It didn't bounce through. You're not allowed to do this. Talk about having a weapon. Now, keep your eye on exactly where Buddy gets the ball.
He's almost
on the pitch. So he stops, props. He's 5 metres inside the centre square, and it carries over the goal line. That's unfair. He's kidding. Look where he's kicked it from. On the turn.
Oh, that's insane.
Too good.
Who was the boy in the Big Bash cricket in the summer? Lynn? How far he hits them?
Chris Lynn, he does.
He's the kicking equivalent. That one's travel 75.
It's out to 56 now. Batted forward for the Bombers. Danaher did well. Goddard tried to get some movement forward after being flat-footed initially, trying to initiate something forward for Essendon. Crowley's got out, starting to accumulate some numbers. His 22nd disposal.
Good lead again.
Bagley.
That's better. See, he goes for the hands, and that forces something different from the defender because he can't reach the ball, so he gets pinged for hitting the arms.
Great call.
So he learnt very well from that first option where he played it too safe, tried to take the chest mark. That time he knew he was under pressure. He had to attack it right out at the furthest point. You can see the spoiling arm from Smith. Takes his left arm out.
It's putting me in pain to give you this compliment. You were the best mark out in front of your eyes I've ever seen, Jason. What's the secret? What's the #1 thing you've got to do?
You need a lot of practice with your hands, Dan, because you've got to understand that you're hitting it at high speed. You're sprinting towards a ball coming at you, so you've got to work on your hands.
Bagley's worked this one back. didn't get a chance to ask you if you're with him or not that time, Derm.
And more than anything, Derm, it's just practice.
Yeah.
You got to practice that and practice that and practice that until you're comfortable running as fast as you can at the footy and taking it cleanly.
See, Danaher looked half dangerous then. The ball carried the line, but he had a run up at it because he broke contact with Big Reg.
He spotted Hanbury in the middle. It was outstanding vision and executed perfectly, but he doesn't seem to be down there, so he goes wide instead. Franklin's on the bench at the moment, and it doesn't happen for Kieran Jack.
We don't want Buddy on the bench.
No.
Just get on the phone, can you?
You were looking for him as the ball went forward, weren't you?
We don't need to rotate, Buddy.
No.
He's got 4, and Heaney's got 4.
Well, he's got 11.5 minutes, Buddy, to kick. Well, I'll give him another 3.
Well, he's had 9 score involvements. He's averaging 10 every single game, so he's in blistering form.
He's given away a couple of sodas tonight too.
Thanks, boys. Straight up, straight up.
And yet it hasn't been the big possession game that we see from him regularly.
Yep.
I mean, he hasn't played poorly. He's played very, very well, but 15 possessions, he'd normally be up around the 20s.
It was quiet at half-time, but it wasn't the early numbers weren't huge.
Yeah.
He's got busier and busier in the second half. No one could control that one.
Well done. Step through the traffic there, Tipham Woody.
No free kick. Well done by Mills for a young man. But there was bombers everywhere. Goddard using what was on offer for him, which was Crowley and then Merritt. Nothing ahead. It was a blank canvas. But there was not much he could create with the kick. To half back. Well done,
tap.
Redmond. And now Bagley. He's getting practice at this stuff.
Oh, that'll work.
This kicking goal stuff.
Oh, bad luck.
Just can't quite find the middle.
Gave it a chance. We've got an Essendon player in a little bit of trouble here coming off.
Bird.
The Craig Bird. Yeah, his turn.
He's kicked 3 behinds now.
Not a top one high, did he? Yeah. I think he's run into the back of the head of Tom Mitchell.
McVeigh, the crowd just being told there's no kick to kick.
And they don't like it, Hutto.
Papley marks at centre-half back, and it opens for Zach Jones.
Flat.
Oh, again, Hanbury makes himself dangerous. The path to goal was clear that time for the Swans. Chipped it to the space, and McGlynn can help himself for another goal.
And it's been Hanbury both times in this last 5 or 7 minutes. 2 superb kicks into the corridor that hit him in space and allowed him to deliver the ball going forward.
So Ben McGlynn to take it to a 60-point margin. The Swans are full of talent, and they lead by 10 goals.
Midfielders in the competition. Out of 196 that are qualified as genuine midfielders right now, with his kick rating now going to the average section, pushes him into the elite. He does everything else very well.
He does it, especially down here. Look at all the green, well over 100 points. This guy is working towards All-Australian in 2016.
5 times over 100 points. I mean, that's an outstanding month of football. He's a star. We know he's a star. Now we're recognising it.
Swans midfield dominating. 3 players over 30 possessions. Dan Hanbury, one of them. Mitchell and Kennedy, both just above him. 33 to Mitchell, 34 to Kennedy.
And for an elite player, he's as tough as old boots.
29 to Zaharakis, the best of the Bombers.
Hanbury hungry for more in the middle. And McVeigh, he's got better as the game's gone on, hasn't he, McVeigh? It's taken a few weeks to get going. Late start for the year.
One of the other aspects about Henry I like, he's dead set cheeky. He's just got that.
There's a little gift back from Mills.
Now got to kick the goal.
He's kicked it from a long way out, McKernan, and it's on target.
Oh, clear.
A much-needed goal to the Bombers.
They've actually created a number of turnovers in that area, the Bombers, but they haven't punished the Swans every time they've done it. On that occasion, they managed to kick the goal. Sean McKernan, who hasn't seen a lot of it, said the 10 possessions, gets a goal on the board.
Well, that's only the second goal kicked by a so-called key forward. Brown kicked one in the first quarter, and now we get one from McKernan in the last quarter.
That's not anyone backing up on any comments they've made, is it?
Yeah, Jason's just pushing the chair backwards.
Ho, ho, ho.
The margin is
All right.
It's not a sound you expect to hear in a footy match, is it?
No.
It's interesting, while the goal was kicked, Mark Bagley got called to the bench, I reckon, twice. Now, he mightn't have needed a spell, but he does now after about 4 60-metre sprints.
So back in the middle, 54 points on Leuenberg. Has just climbed over the top. Advantage out of the middle. Kennedy tries to sum this up. Who will he go to? Maybe Franklin. No mark from Buddy. McGlynn. Jack. He liked that. There's a response from the Swans.
Well, when it was 35 points, we were saying they need to be careful because it could blow out to 70. We're now at 60. And
plenty of time left.
We got 1/8 of the game left. And you just know that the Swans are thinking here, hey boys, let's really cash in. They've been better than this though, the Bombers. They got to put up the wall now.
So Kieran Jack, who we thought his day might have been a pretty short one early on when he got injured, but fought on with a sore foot. 19 disposals, 2 goals. Goddard
goes back to be a 7th defender now. They're just going to protect against getting blown away here, so they mightn't score at the other end. Highly unlikely.
Zaharakis works it out. Here's Mills stretching out again. Ran
Dropped
straight
it.
to Redmond. Well
Dropped
done.
it. Yeah, good tackle.
Dare stay out.
So Mason Redmond.
That's a good kick.
Play on.
Ah, he went for the
Chest mark again.
Yes.
He's a little bit proppy, McKernan, but he needed just to. There was no need to jump. He just had to sprint at the ball with the arms outstretched.
But that's one of those ones you've got to know your opponent. Now, the opponent was going to spoil with the right arm. When he jumps, slightly turn your body in the air so that right fist can never get to the footy.
He's putting up with a bit of pain. He corked that right glute, McKernan, so that's why he's a bit proppy.
Yeah, that's why it was a friendly fire cork out on that outer wing, Dicko.
Bit of a cuddle there between McKernan and Laidley. Here he is again, Redmond,
That'll go.
the son of a lobster fisherman. Across the face it goes. From Millicent in South Australia.
That suited Reg Grundy down to the ground, didn't it? Just a push and shove sideways. Lobster fisherman. We sent Hutto scurrying back to his notes.
Yeah, well, that's what.
Good knife. They dropped some off at our place, Hutto.
Here's a little crack from Fantasia. Here's Hewitt, and that's high.
High tackle, Sydney. Good mate.
Okay.
Hold there. Hold.
Through
Have
Glenelg,
you
played
seen
under,
much of... Sorry.
played under Matt Loken, former Pie.
Oh,
at
yeah,
Glenelg.
yeah.
Yep.
Number 29, left
so.
footer.
Yep.
You seen much of Sydney this year, Derm? Because I'm not quite sure how to place Sydney in the overall picture of things this year.
Play on. Play on.
I think we know they're always going to be thereabouts, but are you bullish about their premiership chances?
The one thing I'd say about Sydney is their best footy, I reckon, is league's best.
Yep.
That's
So
a great
there-
mark from Kennedy.
There's a few things, and they're only minor modifications they need to sort out. So, I mean, with this power they've got up forward, yeah, they're very well placed. We see all the grand finalists over recent years have had wonderful scoring power. Sydney possessed that.
It's interesting because first few weeks of the season we were all talking about, that's not a great kick to the lead, we were all talking about their inability to have good ball users coming out of the back six. But they seem to have accounted for that pretty well.
Kennedy, it's been a painful build-up for the Swans.
Won't matter.
But it's well finished.
Yeah, poking holes through it here.
Yeah, Matty D looking around going, hang on, how's this bloke standing all on his own? Not my bloke, but I'm now the one that's got to come and stand the mark.
Yeah, see, I know Brendan's trying to educate young Hartley down there, and he's standing on the goal line by himself, Brendan, but he's actually got to come up and fill that space.
So Callum Sinclair's had some shots at goal this afternoon. Probably the hardest one he kicked. There's 1 goal, 3. This to extend the margin out to 66 points. The goal umpire on the move. And he's missed it.
He missed a couple right. This one he's missed left.
Shake of the head there. They've left a few behind the Swans. 17-13, 115 to 7-12-54. Crowd of just on 30,000 at the SCG. Heaney with the acrobatic fly, but up the back rampy is the one that has to wear all the pain.
He's up to 16 possessions, Callum Sinclair, but 1 goal 4. Very, very different. If he's got 4 goals 1, he's one of the best half dozen out there.
Josh Kennedy's had 38, by the way, for the Swans. Laidler doing what he had to do. And their halfback's been outstanding as the game's gone on. Tippett, Goddard had a good fly at it. Skirting the pack, Hewitt had hands in the middle on offer from Lloyd. Franklin wants it, and what Franklin wants he doesn't get, or maybe he will. It sneaks out the front in the end, and Grimer labouring away now. He has to go chase. Is
that
deliberate?
deliberate?
I think it was like a more
That's
instinct.
deliberate.
Okay. It's just an instant kick that was there for him. Oh, Heaney's all on his own, but
took the mark anyway.
Yeah.
And this is just a chip shot from 50 for Franklin. Lob wedge, distance-wise.
It's not his favourite side.
No, it's not. So you're not with him, Derm?
No. No. Never doubt him. But I'm not with him on this occasion.
4 goals 1.
There you go. 17-23. Sorry, 17-19.
So Lance Franklin for 5 goals and the most out there on the ground.
Never going to miss.
Never in the slightest doubt, Buddy Franklin
Never
with the
doubted
high 5 at the SCG.
Despite Dermot potting him, he's still
Never doubted him. He's a marvel, isn't he?
Now, he was going to get the free kick anyway, but love the fact that he held the mark, because we'd love to see more of this from Buddy. Just some good, strong, clean hands. It's a beautiful kick when he gets hold of those big bombs.
You don't want to teach a kid to kick with that style, but
it's going to be an interesting race for the Coleman medal. There's quite a few of them up there, but Buddy's going to be right in the thick of it.
He was second going into this round. As Mitchell wasn't the best striker of the ball. Heaney comes hard at it late. Manoeuvres himself into a good position. Jim McVeigh's been creative. Franklin's in the frame again. Buddy looming. Can't take it. And here's Papley. Back to him. Why not? Go to Buddy on the run. He crafts the kick.
well, that's boring.
Heaney's coming late to the contest, and what a mark.
But that's not.
But his instinct now is to bring it back into the corridor, whereas in years gone by, we would have seen that just blazed away at the goals. Fascinating the way he's turned that part of his game around and just said, I will always, nearly always now, kick it back into play into my teammates rather than trying to kick the miracle goal.
Now, I'm really going to irritate a great friend of ours, Kevin Bartlett, here, but there was a touch of Royce Hart in that mark. No support.
So 67 points the margin. 5 goals for Franklin. 5 goals for Heaney. What a dangerous duo.
Now, there's times you need to show leadership and there's times you actually need to instruct people. Brendan Goddard, the captain, is there. The ball is down the spine over there. So we roll the camera here and see what Brendan does. He's wanting instruction. He's arguing with the bench. He doesn't know what's going on. Instead of taking command and saying, I know this sport. I know what I'm doing out here. I will take charge. That ain't great.
It's a lot of arm waving, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's obviously some sort of miscommunication or disagreement between Goddard and the runner and the bench effectively.
Yeah, but I think the point Dermot makes is a valid one. If you're an experienced senior player,
you don't need it.
Make your own decisions.
Yeah.
If you haven't got the right information, you make the best decision in your own mind.
Margin 73 now at the SCG.
He's played 275 games. He knows what's right and wrong. He doesn't need it to come from a runner. And if you're 70 points down, you can actually call a shot yourself with 275 games under your belt.
Bird, again, not quite perfect on the handball. Leaves it up for grabs in dispute. Parker. And now McVeigh, what a steadying.
Oh, look at the corridor open.
Look what he could see. Franklin beckons ahead. Tossed it up high. Let's see Buddy go for this one. Yep, he He's got it.
That's the mark we talked about, Jason. It's the stretch he gets people on. He takes the pace off for the first touch, and then he cradles in for the soft drop into his lap for the second. And don't feel bad, young man. This bloke is one of the... He'll go down as an all-time great. The athlete that he is, he hasn't finished yet, and there's plenty more to come.
I reckon when Isaac Heaney kicked his 5th, he said, hey,
no doubt.
There's one top bill here, and you can play second fiddle.
You can just wait your turn a little bit, young man. Your time will come, because 6 goals for Buddy Franklin leads them all.
He might have another one in him.
You're correct. The numbers are starting to look really good now. 18 possessions. Half of those have been contested possessions. He's only taken the 2 marks, but 6 goals, 1 is one heck of a return.
The mental application from the Essendon defence in the middle of the ground, it was tired mental application to the defence. I'm sure they'd run back if they could see it unfolding, but they all got clogged up and sucked up to the forward half of the ground. There's the Coleman medal. He's had more shots than anyone, Franklin. He's kicked quite a few points to go with those 29 goals, but he's just shaded Tommy Lynch now.
Hutto, do you reckon we can get a Franklin, Heaney, 13 combined? Have we got time?
We've got to 11 this time.
Wait for it. There's more coming. Yeah, here's one. That's regulation.
Oh, yes!
Now, that's what we don't see enough of. That's the regulation forward, lead up, get a good pass from a midfielder who's not under enormous pressure. I just don't reckon we see this enough.
Yeah, well, because the forwards are taught so much, it becomes ingrained to hold position and let the midfield run the ball. Let's have a look what his odds are. Ooh. He just gets it inside the far right goal post. It'll bend back beautifully.
Just to take him to outright 16th all-time goal kicker, Buddy Franklin, for 7 goals.
That's where he misses most of them. The numbers don't lie.
That's an anticlimax.
Over to you, Isaac Heaney. Let's see what you can do.
Well, there's still time for this little mini battle.
It's now a big score, though, isn't it? 134.
Yeah.
80 points the margin.
Well, it was 35. What did they start out this quarter? 39 points. They started this quarter ahead. Now we're at 80.
The Swans have kicked 8 goals 2 to 1 goal 3 in the quarter.
In fact, the whole second half doesn't look pretty either. It's 13 goals to 2 since half time.
This was probably the margin that we expected coming in. It took them a while to really get going. Good scrap for the footy on the wing. Crowley's kept on trying, so has Zaharakis, his 33rd disposal. But this is where they've broken down as the game's gone on. They've been able to get extra numbers across half-back. McVeigh, Smith, they've all started to feast on the footy.
Number 36 for Mitchell, Josh Kennedy has 40.
Doesn't he rack them up?
16
Just accumulators.
11 clearances for Josh Kennedy. Spread far and wide to try and find a path. We're looking for one more Buddy goal, perhaps. Might be here. Dropped the mark. Still goes in after it again and gets it out of bounds. They call for deliberate. She's optimistic at best. So 40 seconds. Kicked his 13th goal, I think, with about 4 seconds to go in that game.
Yeah, so he's outside the 50 here at this stoppage.
So it suits him.
Yeah, and Heaney inside the 50.
Heaney's 40 metres out and could get into the position here.
Oh, high fend off. Let go.
Bombers looking for a late one, maybe. McKernan. Laidler, he's been steady as well. Back for Rampy. So nice little instep from Jones. Getting more and more aggressive with his ambitions here.
Oh, all on his own.
Very well directed for Luke Parker.
You wouldn't think a player like Luke Parker.
Buddy wants it. He is. What Buddy wants, Buddy gets. Very low percentage play.
That's a much tougher angle for Buddy than it is for Luke Parker.
No.
But how does a player like Luke Parker stand?
He didn't move. The crowd went away from him.
Inside 50 like that, and no one's near him.
Yeah, the whole crowd went away from him, and he stood there sucking in some big ones.
Are you on Bud here or not?
I'm on the Budweiser.
Now, the umpire's going over and saying, siren's gone, so don't run off the mark. We know he has a bit of natural arc.
That'll put him in the stand, though.
6 goals for Buddy Franklin. This for number 7. All eyes around the SCG to finish off the day for the Swans.
It's close.
Chance.
Wrong side.
Oh, Rosie.
Not quite sensing the moment in the spotlight there, Buddy. But he's entertained us in the second half. The Swans win by 81 points at the SCG. 6 goals to Franklin. 6-3 was his total. Isaac Heaney with 5. They are very, very dangerous up forward. They're going to be potent. They are some serious weaponry for the Sydney Swans. And they're going to be right in the mix, you think, as this season goes on.
No doubt. And when you asked before about what makes them, in my mind, so dangerous is with that footage we showed of Kieran Jack running forward when he recognises the moment. They've got so many players who recognise the moment, get to dangerous positions, and then they've got Franklin up forward, then they've got Sinclair up forward, then they've got Heaney who can float through there. So their best football, when they all run and spread like that, when they recognise that moment, I think is league's best. And that's going to take some stopping.
Well, there's only one man that we would like to hear from after a performance like this, and I think Ben Dixon has been able to track down Buddy Franklin.
Thanks, Ace. Well, Bud, I mean, you keep on with your season, and it's been an unbelievable start for the Swannies.
Yeah, it has. We've only dropped one this season so far, so we're playing some pretty good football, but first half has let us down a little bit. We just had to start winning that contested ball, and we were able to get it forward, and the last quarter was a good finish off by the boys.
You're in ripping, Nick. I think it's the best you moved in 10 years, and you got the radar on 6 goals. I mean, anti-climax to the last one, but you're obviously feeling $1 million.
Yeah, the boys looking after me, aren't they? But no, I'm playing some pretty good football this year and really enjoying myself.
I just want to bring up that goal in the square. Jason Dunstall was a bit shocked. The one step from inside the square. Have you got a bit of range now? Your body's feeling that good?
I've got no right foot, so I was always getting back on that left foot, but yeah, as I said, mate, it was a good win and good to kick a couple of goals. We've got Richmond next week, which is going to be a difficult game for the boys, but we look forward to the challenge.
And you got a good partner in crime, Isaac Heaney. I mean, you centred that ball. I haven't seen that for you for a while. You obviously trust his ability to jump on a few heads and mark a ball.
Yeah, he kicked 5 tonight, didn't he? So it's always good to have another avenue to go, and there's a couple that popped up today. I think Benny kicked 2, and then Georgie Hewitt also kicked 2. So we've got a few avenues to go, and yeah, it's just good winning.
How is your body, Bud? I mean, I said the best in 10 years. I'm having a stab in the dark, but 11, is it? Oh, you're flying. But, I mean, how is it? I mean, Dewey said you've had an unbelievable pre-season, but you personally?
Yeah, well, since I've got up here, I was able to, this year, but when I got back December 1, I was able to do all the training, which is really good. Since I've been up here, I've only trained here and there for the first 2 years. So the last 6 months has been really good. I've been able to get on the training track, which I love doing, and the body's feeling really good.
It's great to see you in full flight, and you gave me a little wink there when you kicked that one. It was never in doubt, wasn't it?
I did, mate. It was for you, big fella.
Well done, Bud.
Oh, bit of brotherly love there, isn't there?
Bit of me time about that from Dicko.
But he was very, Jason, he was very good to a young Lance Franklin who had so much to learn. He had all the skill in the world, but he had so much to learn.
Yeah, and Dicko spent plenty of time covering for him too while he learnt the game.
Yeah.
When you said there was only one man we wanted to talk to, Jace, I thought you were talking about Isaac Heaney, actually, so we might catch up with him as well in a moment. But there's the Bombers coming through after putting in so much effort early on. They'd be disappointed with the way it ended, but they had a crack.
It comes down to how long they can maintain that effort that we saw in the first half. I mean, it was competitive. It was only 7 goals to 5 at half-time, so they had themselves in the contest. Whether or not they had dragged Sydney down a little bit or stifled them, however you want to say it, they had been very, very competitive, but then it drops away the longer the game goes.
Yeah, at the 9-minute mark of the third quarter, they were just 2.5 goals down, 15 points. And then from there on, they drift out to 81 points. They've got some issues, and they've got a lot of a learning curve. I mean, I talked a lot about Joe Danaher today, and I think he's such a wonderful talent. I get jealous of how much talent he has and how much of a career he's got ahead of him. But he has so much to learn. His starting position as a forward, 40, 50 metres ahead of stoppages, boundary line throw-ins and the likes. is not great. He allows contact from an opponent whose one thing his opponent Grundy prays for when he starts a game is to have contact against his opponent, and he gave that to him. One bloke who has got an enormous amount of talent, and he's a bona fide star in his second year, is Isaac Heaney, and he is with Ben Dixon.
Thanks, Derm. Isaac, unbelievable start of the season. I had a chat to Buddy, but the fluency up forward, I mean, you're getting there, you're obviously getting a good run at it, got a nice licence to take a mark and kick a goal.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what they've instilled in me to go for my grabs and really work hard down there. As a forward group, I think we've performed pretty well this year, so and it's always good to see Bud put on a show as well.
And the start of the season, we can say it's the experience, but so many young kids have come through now, and obviously the path that you did last year and the year before, you know what I mean? Like Callum Mills, it's a great build for the Sydney Swans going forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think they had 4 debuts this year, and yeah, they've all performed, and I think 3 of them are out here today, so yeah, it's super effort from the boys, and I think it shows we've got pretty good depth at the moment, so yeah, all good.
What about Johnny Longmire at half-time? What did he say? It was a bit of a slow start for you boys. Essendon had a bit of the control of the game.
Yeah, they cracked in hard, and I think, yeah, Horse wasn't too happy with the first half we performed, and no, we put together a decent second half. I think last quarter was good, but 3 quarters weren't great, so we can improve on that, definitely.
Any banter between you and Bud down there because you had him covered for a long time?
Oh, no, he always gets me. I think he's the superstar of the game, so no, he's a pretty special player.
Go and enjoy it.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Great to see an interview from Dicko that he didn't turn into being about himself. Dermot, he did play an exceptional game, Isaac Heaney. We have a look at the way that the day panned out for him. He got amongst the goals early. He had 3 very early. His first half was exceptional. So he kicks 5 goals and has 22 possessions. Buddy kicks 6 goals, has 21 possessions. Josh Kennedy has 40 possessions and 11 clearances. Which way do the votes go in a game like this? How do the umpires see it, do you think?
You're doing it.
No.
Don't think I'm going to make your job any easier.
So on Brownlow night, when they read out the 3-2-1.
Oh, geez. You'd probably suggest Hanbury's in there. His contested possession work, I thought, was fantastic. We saw his workload. But that's one of the tough ones. There's no right and wrong. You've probably got 5 players tonight from the Sydney Swans who could all lay claims to a vote.
I thought McVeigh was very good as the game went on too in terms of the future for Sydney. Skipper now back for his 3rd game.
Yeah. He was on the youngster playing his first game, Redmond, and it afforded him the luxury of knowing when he could go and run his own race at half-back, and Redmond might follow him rather than say, where's he going? I'm nicking out this door and I can get dangerous. So when you're playing against an inexperienced player, as experienced as McVeigh is, he can take those liberties, especially when his team got on top. That bloke's in good nick.
Yeah, 29 possessions for Luke Parker. Didn't get amongst the goals today, but
it was good early.
7 clearances.
Set the tone for them when Essendon were challenging.
6-1. It's not a bad start to the season. You can understand why there's a few smiles on the faces.
Yeah, they got the Hawks next week, I think.
Big game.
2 weeks. 2 weeks' time. They got the Tigers next week.
So an 81-point victory.